Good morning, students. I hope you are revising your syllabus and preparing well for your pre-midterm exams. As you know, we have started chapter number 2, form of business organization. So I have given 2 videos of this, and we have revised sole proprietorship, partnership and Hindu undivided family. All right. Today we are going to discuss about cooperative societies and joint stock company. Well, let's talk about cooperative societies first. What is its meaning? We have to understand it. We have to clear its meaning first. Cooperative society. Cooperative means helping each other. Cooperation. I think you might have listened to this word. Cooperation. Help karna ek dusre ki. So cooperative societies. These are meant to help each other. For the mutual help, these has been established. I tell you something more about it. Well, cooperative societies, their registration is compulsory under Cooperative Societies Act 1912, all right. And these societies are having separate legal existence from its members, right. As we have talked about the partnership and sole proprietorship, they are the partners. From the legal point of view, I am talking students, from the legal point of view, in sole proprietor and partnership, they have the same, right. They are no different from their firm, but here cooperative societies are different from its members. Members are the people who are the participants in that, all right. So it's having separate legal existence and its registration is done under Cooperative Societies Act 1912, and minimum 10 people we want for its formation, and maximum number of the members, they can be any number, right. So I think cooperative societies features, if we discuss the features, so you will come to know more things about the cooperatives. The first one is voluntary membership. Students, when one wants to be a member, so there is no such restrictions imposed on the people to join it, right. They are free to join. Voluntarily they can join this cooperative society, and whenever they don't feel like to be continued with it, they can leave that, all right. So voluntary membership, and then legal status. Few moments back I have explained about its legal status. Legal status means its existence is separate from its members. Members are different, and this this cooperative society is different, having the different existence from its members, all right. Having separate legal existence means it can sue somebody and somebody can sue this cooperative society, and this can purchase the assets on its own name, all right. Next we will talk about the liability, limited liability. Students, we have discussed it many times, what is the meaning of limited liability and unlimited liability. I am telling you once again. Where your assets are sufficient to pay the liability of your business, that means your firm is solvent, and where your assets are not sufficient to pay the liabilities of your business, so the situation comes of the insolvency, all right. So in that situation, for paying the debts of your firm, paying the liability of your business, we have to be dependent on the personal property. So the situation where one has to use the personal property and then he has to pay the debts of the business, this situation is called unlimited liability. But here limited liability means you are confined to your business assets only. Your business liabilities will be paid from the business assets only, all right. So here also they are enjoying this limited liability feature, okay. Next is your service motive. As I have told you, the cooperatives are formed for the mutual help and for the serving the society, all right. Their main motive is not to earn profit. Their main motive is to provide services to the society. Next is democratic control. Here students, it's talking about the democratic control. Democracy means voting system, as we do in the company also. What happens in the company? It is not in fact democracy. Because very soon we will talk about this also, but I am explaining, I am clearing the difference. In joint stock company, suppose I have 10 shares of that company, so I can vote 10 times. I have 10 votes, right. But in case of cooperative society, there is a democratic setup, democratic control is there. if I have 100 shares of the cooperative society, but as I am a single individual, so I will be voting once. I have one single vote being a single person, means one man, one vote. If you have 1000 shares, irrespective of this fact, you will be voting once only, all right. So we can say that there is a democratic control, means every person has a voting right, and the voting is not according to their shares which they are possessing. Next is distribution of surplus. This is very justifiable, students. Distribution of surplus. What happen in rest of the form of business organizations? If I have contributed more capital, so I will be getting more. Or another thing, if I have decided more ratio, like in partnership, suppose we have decided 10:5, right? Or you can say 2:1. I have decided 2 and my partner will be getting 1. So I will be getting double profit and that person will be getting single. But this doesn't happen here. Here the surplus, we don't call it a profit. Remember students, I have explained it many times in your accounts also. We don't call it a profit because these organizations are, the cooperative society didn't meant to earn the profit, alright. This is meant to provide the services. So we call it as a surplus. So the surplus which we have, okay, the surplus which we have, that is divided in 3 parts. On the 3 bases, you can say, not 3 parts, that is distributed on 3 bases. The first base is regarding your capital contribution. If one has contributed more capital, so we give a part of the surplus on that basis, so they will be satisfied. This is also one of the reason where the people they are contributing, otherwise the people they will stop contributing more, okay. So a part of the surplus we are giving on the basis of the capital contribution. Well, another part of the surplus we are transferring to the reserves, Reserves are the thing where we are keeping money for the future purpose. Whenever something is required, we take out this money from the reserve and we can use it anywhere, wherever we want, wherever it is required, alright. So that is distributed on an equal basis. If some welfare or we want to grow this business, we want to expand it, so that reserve can be used. So everyone will be benefited from this, okay. So we have a distribution of surplus, very justifiable. Now we will talk about the merits. Students, merits, I have told you the features, okay. Features are the specialties and we have certain positive points, we have certain negative points. Pros and cons are always there. So let's talk about the positive points first. Merits, easy to form. This is very easy to form, like your partnership and sole proprietorship. And HUF is also not having much formality, so it's very easy to form. Now you will say, how is it easy to form when we have to get its registration and all? So I remind you students, this is a comparative study and here we are comparing with joint stock company, and very soon you will see how complicated procedure is there to incorporate the company, alright. So its formation is very easy. Next is equality in voting status. Just before we have explained about it, equality in voting status. Everyone is enjoying the equal status irrespective of the fact how many shares you are possessing, alright. Next we have limited liability. This also we have discussed, there is no need to discuss it again. Enjoying the limited liability, one of the benefit to the cooperative. Then we have open membership. Open membership means voluntary membership. No restrictions we are imposing on the people. If somebody wants to join, they can easily join. Alright, so open membership, anyone can join. Next is stable existence. Well, before discussing the stable existence, let me remind you students, we have talked in the partnership and sole proprietorship. There the perpetual succession is not there. Okay, if any problem arises in the partnership, any of the partner discontinued due to some reason, so the whole partnership will come to an end. And the same goes in case of sole proprietorship. If sole proprietor falls sick or expires or anything else happen to the person, so your business comes to an end, alright. But these kind of problems are not here in the cooperative. As we know, so many people are there, minimum 10 people we want. So more and more people they are joining, okay. So this was stable existence, enjoying the perpetual succession. Next we have support from the government. Well, students, cooperative societies are formed, and you know, these societies are getting some grants and aids from the government, means a kind of help from the government these are getting, and of course there will be interference of the government also, that we can discuss in the limitations. Fine. So support from the government, here these societies are getting support from the government, financially these are being supported, and even they are getting some rebate in their tax rate also, okay. These societies will be charged concessional tax rates, okay. Next we have distributive justice. Just before we have discussed this distributive justice, this is on the different basis. A part of that they transfer to the reserve, and they you know, 3 parts are there. Once again I am telling you, the first part they divide on the basis, I mean the part of the surplus they divide, they distribute on the basis of their capital contribution. Second one, they transfer to the reserve where everyone will be benefited, and the third one, which is very important, that is business. You know, as cooperative is formed, where number of members are there and they are giving business to this cooperative. Giving business means they are purchasing the things from the business, all right. As consumers, cooperative society is there, so we are purchasing so many items. So the person who is purchasing more, that means this person is giving more business to the cooperative, okay. More business, and the cooperative society is benefited because of this, all right. So the person who provides more business will be getting more share in the surplus. So that way we divide this in 3 parts, okay. So we can say the distribution is very justifiable to everyone. There is a justice with everyone. Next we have economy in operation. Students, economy in operation. If I need a marker and I go to the market, I get it of 50 rupees I have to pay for this. I don't know the actual price, but suppose it's of 50 rupees. But if we have the society, cooperative society, and the consumable items, stationery items, everything which is used by the students and people at home, we are keeping. So its cost is 10 rupees to me. Fine. So that way the things are benefited due to bulk purchases, you know. When we purchase the items in bulk quantity, in more quantity, so we get it on cost price. I mean, we get it directly from the, you can say the manufacturer. So we have removed the mediators, right? No mediators are there. So this will be very this will be very economical to us. As more mediators will be there, the item will be more costlier, okay. So economies in the operation. Here we have talked about the merits. Now we will talk about the limitations, demerits. The first one is limited resources. Students, as I have explained just before in distributive justice, I have contributed 5 lakh rupees, and one of another member, he has contributed only 5,000 rupees and he became a member. So what I feel bad, that because of my money the business is going on, I have contributed more and it is distributed, I mean although a part only has distributed on the basis of capital contribution, but still, so I am not getting the whole benefit of my money, okay. And another reason is the people who are not financially very strong, these kind of people are joining that, so they don't have much extra money, okay. So always the cooperative societies are in the financial crisis, so we have a limited resources. Another reason, whatever the number, although we don't have the ceiling of this, but still there is a limit of that, how many people they are joining your cooperative society. So it can't compete the joint stock company, okay. So we have always financial crisis, or you can say the limited resources we have. Next, inefficient management. Well, students, we got together because we were having the common interest and we have joined the hand and we started our cooperative society, okay. We have formed the cooperative society according to our requirement. We didn't form the cooperative society due to this, that I'm expert in finance, and that person is expert in sales, that person is expert in something else. Quite possible that we don't have the experts, quite possible we don't have the good managers, but it is difficult for us to hire the good salesman, to hire the good managers, because we have to pay them salary and we can't afford this. Okay, so always we are facing inefficiency in the management. Maybe we are the good managers, somebody is good in between, but quite possible that we don't have a good manager. Okay, next we have lack of secrecy. Well, when so many people are joining the hand and they are doing the work, so if you have planned to keep something secret, that's not possible. Okay, so secrecy can't be maintained where so many people are working, and same happens with cooperative society. Next we have difference in opinion. This is also very natural. When two or more people they have started working together, so sooner or later they will have some conflicts. Okay, they have some different opinions and some slight problems can arise. So difference in opinion is also one of the limitation. Next is your excess government control. I have told you students, here we are getting the grant from the government, we are getting some support from the government, either that is in the relaxation of the tax rate or any financial aid, but we have the side effects of that also, you know. Excess government control, wherever government is supporting, so it is keeping the control also on you, right? Certain restrictions, do's and don'ts, and unnecessarily interfere and teasing the people for their personal benefit. So these kind of problems are there. These were the limitations. Now we will talk about the types of consumers cooperative. Types of consumer cooperative. We have many kind of consumers cooperative, depends upon your interest. I have told you there are certain people, the common people who are having the common interest, they form a society. Okay, we have certain people who are purchasing this grocery, stationery item, the household items at very costlier rate. Okay, and we all want that it should be available on the cheap rate, reasonable rates it must be available. So the solution is we can form a society and we can do this work, and we can directly have it from the manufacturer. So we have formed consumers cooperative society. This is the first one we have already discussed and I have explained. Fine, where the consumers they have joined the hand for their consumable items. Okay, next we have producers cooperative. Students, producers, here we are talking about the small scale industrialists, the people who are working on the small scale. They have the different problem while manufacturing, while getting the raw material, while selling it in the market, and certain other things. Okay, so when these small producers they join their hand together and they have started working, they are getting the raw material. See, if I go to Bhilai Durgapur to get my raw material of the raw iron, okay, so that will be very costly for me. If another 20 people are there with me, so that will be very economical for me to get the raw material from there. So these people they join the hand for all the production work, and they enjoy the benefits of the scales of economy, and otherwise also they get so many benefits. They can sell their items together, and sometimes they share their plant and machinery also, depends upon their working pattern. Okay, so this is called producers cooperative. Then we have a credit cooperative. Students, wherever somebody has the financial problem, and this kind of cooperative generally we find in the backward rural area, right? There the people they are facing financial problem, and they don't have the banks and all. Okay, so some people they can join the hand and they collect the small savings from the different people, right? And they can this works like a bank. Credit cooperative is working on the banking pattern. Okay, these people they are collecting the small savings of the people, and they are depositing it with them, and if somebody wants they can take loan from this credit cooperatives. So this is working on the banking pattern and helping the members. Okay, you know what happens in the rural area, these people they are dependent on these money lenders, and still some villages are there where the people are not free from the clutches of these money lenders. So these works like anything in those area. Credit cooperative, if they establish, they can get the loan from their own society. Okay, Next we have marketing cooperative. This is again for those people like the small farmers are there. Okay, we have the for the farmers we have the different one. Marketing cooperative means regarding the producers cooperative also they can use that. The manufacturers and the people who are working on very small scale, they have certain items to sell it out in the market. If they go separately, they will not be recognized in the market and there will be tough competition with the people who are already established in the market. So they form a society. Which society? Marketing society. They collect their items and they go together, means they bound with each other and then they sell it. So they can compete with other producers, other people, other businessmen who are already established in the market. Okay? So that's very benefited for these kind of people. Next we have farmers cooperative. We know that farmers are very poor in some area and they are facing financial crisis. They don't have the good equipments, they don't have good seeds, manures, and for the irrigation they don't have proper facility. I mean, so many problems they are facing on the daily basis. They don't have money even to purchase all these latest technology and equipments. So they can do what? The people who are interested, I have told you this is voluntary organizations, people who are interested to join, they join their hands, minimum 10 people of course, they join their hand, they keep a little collection, and for example, if these 10 farmers separately I am talking about, they don't have money to buy a tractor which is used in the farming, okay, in the agriculture work. Now, if these 10 people or the 20 people, they have joined their hand, so easily they can purchase this tractor and certain other latest equipments which are used in the farming. Okay. So this way these people, they form a farmers cooperative society and together they are purchasing these machineries, equipments, manures and good quality seeds they are purchasing and they are enjoying the benefits of this cooperative. Next we have students cooperative housing. Well, as the name is suggesting, it is for those people who are having the housing problem. Okay. The people who are having the housing problem separately, one is not having this much money to buy the house. So the people who are having the common problem, common interest, they have joined their hand and they have formed a society and the name is cooperative housing. So these people, they have collected money. Now out of those one, Mr. Ram wants to make a house or want to have it on rent or whatever. Okay. So he can take help from this society. If somebody wants to have money to construct the house, they can take loan from this housing. Okay. And they can build their own houses also. This is also prevailing in the market. These people, they are getting together, keeping their finance together, purchasing a piece of land and constructing the flats and all that, and everyone is enjoying that. If separate one person plans to purchase the land and to construct its own flat, so that will be very, very difficult. But if 20 people, they have joined their hands, right, and they have purchased a piece of land and then they are doing the construction, so they get the benefit of togetherness. All right. So that's all about the types of societies. Okay. I hope it is clear what is cooperative society. This has been established under Cooperative Societies Act 1912, working for the common purpose. Students, now we will talk about joint stock company. Joint stock company. I tell you, these all form of business organizations, these are a part of private sector. In the next chapter, we will study about the public sector. So these all form of business organizations are a part of private sector. So joint stock company. Students, its name is suggesting company. Company means kisi ka saath. So here also we know that this is also with the combination of somebody. The single person can't form a company. Students, in company we have, I just give you a brief regarding the company. In company we have minimum 2 people and maximum 200 people. Here I am talking about the private company. We have the different kinds of the companies also. But basically here I'm talking about two kind of companies, private company and public company. Okay, in private company we have minimum 2 people, maximum 200, and in public company, not sector, it is company. In public company we have minimum 7 people and maximum there is no limit, that can be up to the number of shares which are issued by the company. Okay, and these companies are registered under Companies Act 2013. Earlier it was Companies Act 1956, but so many major amendments has taken place, and of course in 2013 major amendments has taken place. So we have changed its name, Companies Act 2013 में इसका formation है. Okay, and its registration is, its incorporation is compulsory. After its incorporation, company comes in the existence and we call it a separate legal existence. Separate, it's an artificial person. Company को हम क्या बोलेंगे? Company is an artificial person having separate legal existence from its members. Okay, it's different from its members. Members means shareholder, owners are at one side and company is at another side. We have the definition also. Well, I'm not going to discuss the definition because we are short of time. We are just revising these points. Okay, so now we will talk about the features. More points will be clear to you. Artificial person, as I have explained, company is an artificial person and having the separate legal existence from its members. Why I have called artificial person? Because it's enjoying all the rights of like a person, but it's not a natural person. Okay, it didn't take birth naturally and it doesn't die naturally. Next we have limited liability. Students have told many times about the liability fact. So here company is enjoying limited liability, means company limited liability means it's confined to the assets of the company only. Okay, its liabilities are there, its assets are there, so it has to pay its liability from its assets only. If something is lacking, so they are not responsible. I take one example. Suppose one has purchased 10 shares of rupees 10 each. So the total liability of that particular person is 100. Okay, 10 shares into 10 rupees. So the total liability is 100 of Mr. Ram. Fine. If Mr. Ram has paid the whole amount, Ram has paid the whole amount 100 rupees to the company, and tomorrow if any liability arises, कोई liability आती है, तो Mr. Ram is not responsible to pay anything because his liability is up to the amount which he was supposed to pay. Okay, he is confined to pay this much only. All right, but if Mr. Ram has paid 10 shares थे and he has paid only 5 rupees on these 10 shares, that means 50 rupees he has paid, and he is liable to pay up to 100 rupees because 10 rupees of was the value of one share. So in total he was supposed to pay 100 rupees, but if he has paid 50, so remaining 50 is his liability. So in future whenever any liability arises, so he will be paying another 50 rupees. If they ask more, so he is not supposed to pay. Okay, although they won't ask, they know the liability is limited. Next we have registration. I've told you students, its registration is done under Companies Act 2013. Okay, perpetual succession means continuity. Here also it is enjoying the perpetual succession, means continuity is there. Doesn't affect one example I am giving you students. Suppose the annual journal meeting is going on and all the members are available. So many members are there, right? Whatever the number, all the members are present and bomb shelling is then everyone died. All the members have died. Okay, not even a single person is alive. So in that case, company is still alive. Reason? Because company is having its separate legal existence. We call it a artificial person. Company is an artificial person other than from the member. If all the members have died, still company is alive. Okay, company पे कोई bomb shelling नहीं हो सकती है. You can't shoot the company. Okay, the birth of the company takes place through the law. Legal formalities are there. Then company comes in the existence. And in the same way, if some problem arises and we want to wind up the company, so this winding up procedure also takes place through the law. So legal process we have to follow for winding up the company. Okay, company की death नहीं हो सकती है. So company is still alive. Whatever wrong happens in the company, but company alive. Okay, so we can say perpetual succession is there. Next, control. Students, the control of the company lies in the hands of the board of directors. Okay, there is a board of director where the chairman will be there and certain board members will be there. So they will be managing everything. They are the controlling authority. They will be deciding the thing. Separate legal entity. This I have explained in the starting, having different existence from its member. Members are different and this is different. So from the legal point of view, it is having separate legal entity. Next is common seal. Students, I have told you that company is different from its member. Members अलग हैं और company अलग है. ठीक है. Company artificial person है. अब आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन के हाथ तो होते नहीं है कि दे डू द सिग्नेचर ऑन द पेपर, राइट? बट व्हेन अ कंपनी फॉर्म ऑफ बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज देयर, कंपनी इज रनिंग, तो कंपनी को सिग्नेचर तो करने ही होते हैं क्योंकि ये आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन है, एक अलग एग्जिस्टेंस है इसका. कंपनी के नाम पे सारे काम हो रहे हैं तो साइन भी तो कंपनी के ही होंगे ना. सो देयर इज अ सील. Seal means stamp kind of. You must have seen the seal of your school. If so, common seal. It is called common seal. On all the important document wherever company is supposed to do the signature, its seal has been used there. Okay, but seal alone doesn't work. It needs the signature of its secretary. Secretary of the company. जैसे किसी natural person का secretary होता है ना, ऐसे ही company is keeping the secretary. And these are the people who qualify their exam of company secretary, CS जिसे आप बोलते हैं. Okay, so these people are working as a company secretary and they do the signature and common seal is also used over there. Then we find that company has done the signature. Next we have risk bearing. Well students, of course the company bears the risk and its members, means shareholders, they bear the risk, and risk is borne by this company. I mean the liability is limited. Okay, so the risk is of the company definitely, but that will be in the ratios. As they have the shares, so they will be bearing the risk in their ratio. As we have taken example of Mr. Ram, so the risk of Mr. Ram is up to 100 rupees only, not more than that. Well, transfer of share. Students, transfer of share means selling the share. Is that allowed or no? I tell you, still we have talked about two kind of companies. One is private and public company. It is public company, again I am telling you, not private sector. Private sector अलग चीज़ है, ठीक है? Private company and public company. So in private company, shareholders, members are not free to transfer the share. They can't do that. Okay? But in public company, you can transfer the share. You are free to transfer the share at any number of times. You can transfer the share in a day even. You might have listened about the stock exchange. People, they are purchasing and selling their shares at the stock exchange. So that means they are transferring their shares, right students? So here we have talked about the features of joint stock company. Well, I hope you will be preparing well. Just go through all the topics properly, and still if you have some doubts, some problems regarding these points and topics, so we can discuss in the doubt session tomorrow. Thank you.